Ella went quiet over Paul's card holder, and Thanksgiving stopped calling Shelby ancient history. Thanksgiving at Paul's parents' house turned on a leather card holder. His family had never fully decided whether I was permanent. They were polite, warm on paper, and too interested in how soon I planned to make things official with their son. Paul and I had been together almost 2 years, long enough that his mother, Mary Ann, saved me a place card. Long enough that his sister Ella still tested me. The problem already sitting under everything was his ex, Shelby. Paul called Shelby ancient history. That was his phrase. Ancient. She had moved to Nashville, gotten engaged once, and supposedly only drifted back into contact because her father died this fall, and she was sentimental around people who knew her before. I wanted to be decent about that. What I hated was how fast "be decent" turned into "stop noticing things." He started stepping outside to call her. He claimed, grief makes old relationships look more intimate than they are. One Saturday, he said he was helping his cousin move furniture and came home smelling like hotel soap, not dust. When I asked, he said his cousin's building gym had showers, and I was embarrassing us both by making an ex into a scandal. Thanksgiving dinner was at Mary Ann and George's. 20 people. Turkey, crystal, and the annual ritual, where everyone says what they are grateful for before the food goes cold. I was already tired by the time the sweet potatoes hit the table, because Ella had spent an hour talking about how special it was that Paul still showed up for people from his past. Then the doorbell rang. George answered it. A young guy in a blazer stood there holding a black leather card holder and asked for Paul. He said the valet team from the Marlowe house had found it in the back seat after a guest shuttle run the night before, and the hotel concierge traced the dinner reservation to Mary Ann's number. Paul went pale. Mary Ann laughed too brightly and said there must be some mistake, because Paul had been home all night, resting before Thanksgiving. The valet guy tried to help. He said, "Oh, maybe I've got the wrong family then." It was attached to the table for Mr. Collins and Miss Shelby Reed. Nobody moved. George took the holder before Paul could. Inside was a restaurant charge slip from the Marlowe house, 2 tasting menus, late-night lounge transfer, and a room access card sleeve tucked behind it. Room 804. Added guest name, Shelby Reed. Paul said Shelby had a breakdown after dinner, and he only got her somewhere safe because she had too much wine and no ride back to her cousins. Mary Ann immediately backed him up. She said that is exactly the kind of man she raised, the kind who helps without worrying how it looks. That defense might have worked if Ella had not asked, quietly, why helping Shelby required a room access sleeve and an overnight valet transfer. That was the turn. Up to then, people could still tell themselves I was being tense about an ex, and Thanksgiving made everything feel louder than it was. Once Ella said that, the room stopped handling me and started handling Paul. I asked him why he told me he was asleep by 11 if he was still at the Marlowe house with Shelby after midnight. He said because if he told me the truth, I would have made him choose between compassion and my insecurity. Maybe that was partly true. Maybe Shelby really was a mess. Maybe the room card proved nothing except bad judgment and worse optics. What nobody at that table could argue with was that he lied about where he was, spent the night orbiting his ex, and expected me to walk into his family's holiday, carrying the burden of being the suspicious one. I stood up before grace was said. Mary Ann told me not to punish decency. George told Mary Ann to stop talking. Ella handed me my coat. By the time I was in the driveway, his family was no longer debating whether I had overreacted. They were arguing over why Paul needed an ex, a room card, and a cover story on the same night.